So the best way for someone that doesn't know what's going on here to understand what Bitcoin Cash is all about is go and read the original Satoshi Nakamoto white paper. And the title of that paper is Bitcoin, an electronic peer-to-peer digital cash system. And so very clearly it's meant to be used as cash, which means you use it for payments for buying and selling things. And that's what Bitcoin was when I got involved. In 2012, I launched BitcoinStore.com that sold more than 500,000 consumer electronic products for Bitcoin only. And that's what set off this entire wave of merchant adoption that we have now with Newegg and Expedia and Microsoft and all these companies. And it wasn't until maybe 2015-ish, a group of people got involved in Bitcoin, and they started saying, no, Bitcoin shouldn't be used as money. Bitcoin should just be a store of value. And I know from my study of economics, you can't have something only be a store of value. It has to have a secondary use case. And it's because it has a secondary use case that it's even able to be used as a store of value. But all these people advocating for Bitcoin to only be a store of value, they should go and pick up an economics book and they'll understand that that's not possible. And I hate to say that it's not possible, but it's never, ever, ever happened in the entire history of the world. And I don't think it's likely to happen with Bitcoin either. And so these people managed to basically gain control of the main software repository for the main implementation of Bitcoin. Gavin Andresen, who's the person that Satoshi Nakamoto basically turned over control of this repository to and the project itself to, who's been nice enough to share it with additional people because he didn't want to be the only person in charge of this. Then those other people that he shared access to this repository to then revoked his access and basically kicked him out of the project. And Gavin tweeted on his account recently that Bitcoin Cash is the version of Bitcoin that he got involved with in 2010 and that he's promoting. And I said the same thing. Bitcoin Cash is the version of Bitcoin that I got involved in 2011. And another great Chinese entrepreneur in the Bitcoin space, Haipao Yang, the CEO of Via BTC, then tweeted out that Bitcoin Cash is the same version of Bitcoin he got involved in 2012. And all of these people that got involved in Bitcoin early on and read the Bitcoin white paper are supporting Bitcoin Cash. So the Bitcoin core people, they don't want it to be used as money. They just think it can be a store of value in and of itself. And since they intentionally made Bitcoin core have high fees and unreliable transactions, well, guess what? When you have something that's expensive to use and unreliable, people are going to seek out alternatives. And one of those alternatives is Bitcoin Cash. But there's a bunch of other alternatives out there too in the form of Ethereum and Monero and Dash and Zcash and Zcoin and take your pick out there. So we've seen Bitcoin Core's market share since the split and since even before then just plummet. So it used to have like 99% market share, and now it's down into 30-something% market share. And for me, it's just heartbreaking because it had this giant head start over everything else and had this giant first mover advantage. And the current Bitcoin Core supporters are basically committing suicide with the Bitcoin project. They're destroying its first mover advantage. They've destroyed its usefulness in commerce. They've destroyed Bitcoin's usefulness, and they've destroyed the spirit of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's supposed to be censorship resistant money. The Bitcoin Core supporters have engaged in this massive censorship campaign, and they attack anybody who actually supports the original version for Bitcoin. If you don't like the original vision for Bitcoin, that's just fine, but don't hijack the Bitcoin project and turn it into something completely different than what it was meant to be from day one and what all these people got involved in. They love to demonize myself, the first person to start investing in Bitcoin startups in the world. I was the first person in the world to translate the original Bitcoin white paper into Japanese. They also love to demonize Jihan Wu, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the entire Bitcoin ecosystem, who is also the very first person to translate the Bitcoin white paper into Chinese. And so these are some of the earliest, most passionate people promoting Bitcoin, and now they're being demonized by a bunch of Bitcoin Core supporters because we actually want to use Bitcoin in the way it was described being used in the original Bitcoin white paper written by Satoshi Nakamoto. If you don't like the Bitcoin white paper, that's fine, but you shouldn't have hijacked our project. And I think that's why there's so much animosity from the Bitcoin Core people, because the Bitcoin Core people have stolen the project and they have a completely different roadmap and vision for what Bitcoin's supposed to be than the original vision for Bitcoin. So they know Bitcoin Cash is the original Bitcoin and Bitcoin Core is something completely separate. And they'll attack me for saying this, but go and read the Bitcoin white paper. It's plain as day true for anybody that spends the 5 or 10 minutes that it takes to read the Bitcoin white paper. Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin as outlined in the Bitcoin white paper. Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin.